Well, hey everyone, we're back.
Here we are. Are we going?
I think we're going. I think you pressed record. Must have been so good he couldn't resist. Well, anyway, I'm Will.
I'm John.
And you asked for it. For our fifth segment?
This is our fifth episode.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot.
That's a lot. And this particular episode is sponsored by Sage and Rio. So we put out on social media like we did our last episode to reach out to you for your questions. And so Russell Miller from Sage and Rio.
Thank you, Russ.
Picked our top 2 questions. He sent us some stuff, the top 2 prizes.
Yep.
And he also answered both questions. So we're gonna read off those 2 answers.
Indeed, he did. He threw down some great answers here. You're in store for some good information here, coming at you.
Well, from Instagram, this is the life of Davis.
Thank you.
The life of Davis.
Thank you, Life of Davis.
So he was one of our top 2 winners.
Awesome.
So his question is, other than streamers, what would be a good fly to use on the new trout spay rods? So Russell Miller answered this question. Trout spay rods are wonderful streamer fishing tools in combination with a Trout Max head and a light set of Mo-tips. You can really cover a run and mine some beautiful fish out there. Modest sized streamers on a 2 to 4 weight range of rods is one of my favorite ways to fish. But these rods should not be pigeonholes. It is an absolute blast to fish a 2106, that's a 2-weight, 10-foot, 6 2-weight, Sage 1 trout spay with a soft tackle and a riffle. Especially when it's summer, when I can wet wade and the bugs are hatching out of the riffles and water temps are up and our fin friends are getting real grabby. Nothing gets them like a team of softies on the trout spay. For this application, I prefer to fish a Scandi head for a finer presentation and less stripping. Utilize an intermediate Versaleader. That is a fish catching setup. Another way I've fished the 2 and 3 weight 1 trout spays is the skate dries. We all love doing it for summer steelhead, and trout react to a waking fly in the same way. When October caddis or your run-of-the-mill caddis is this...
You got it there.
That was a tongue twister. When the caddis are popping, it's a wonderful opportunity to skate dries. Picture soft lighting, greasy tailouts, and the surface of the water dimpling, then exploding as you connect with an eager rainbow. Russ was pumped up.
He was really pumped up. He was
some good answers.
Very excited.
Again, I prefer to fish a Max and a floating Mo, and that'll get the job done too. And he concludes with, so there is always more exploring to be done, and just like any pursuit, you will find many different ways to fish.
This is a great question. If you follow along with us on our blog and stuff, we just love the trout spays. We're just having a blast with them, really missing them right now, actually. But looking forward to getting back to fishing them. And, Russ just nails a lot of it here with just kind of similar to what we're doing, how we're exploring them. Actually, I'm just seeing now in a lot of my dealer books, I'm seeing a lot of trout spay type flies show up. So I think the next year or two, we're going to see kind of a whole variety of more trout spay types, and we're going to move away from traditional sculpins and things like that, and we're going to get into some more unique type flies. We've actually even downsized and custom tied a couple of our smaller steelhead flies to go with the trout spay. So I think we're going to see a lot of that.
Without a doubt. And Russ does go on and talk about bass applications and the like. And the full answers will be printed on the blog under the video. So we'll have his full answer there.
Cool.
And
it's a good question. Thank you. Moving on.
Question number 2.
Question 2. I'm up.
Who is not a winner, but it's a great question.
Yeah, there we go. It is an awesome question. We've got Into AK here from Instagram.
Yeah.
Awesome. How do I know what length of Skagit head to use for a small switch rod versus a full spay rod? So this is a question we get a lot, and so Russ just fires away. A, quick answer, use Max shorts on rods less than 12 foot in length. Use Skagit Max heads on rods between 12 and 13 and a half. And use Max longs on rods longer than 13 and a half. Simple rule of 2 to 2.5 times the length of your rod. That's the head at 2 to 2.5 times the length of your rod, and that's an equation we've been floating around for a long time.
I'm with him on this. Under 12 feet, short. 12 to 13 and a half, regular max. Over 13 and a half, max long.
I would say this day and age, we're definitely in an era, we've got lots and lots of products out there, lots of exploring, and I think there's a lot more adjusting of your own stroke happening now than there ever has been. I felt like when we first were getting into this, it was a little more hard and fast, but now I feel like there's a little more wiggle room in there for people to make adjustments to make things work.
Yeah, and there's personal preference involved. I mean, we have guys that fish max shorts on 13 and a half foot rods, you know,
Yep,
and
absolutely.
like longer this here for shorter rods. So yeah, personal preference is definitely involved.
Yep.
You bet. You bet. Next question, which Russ also answers from Rogue Fly Fishing off Instagram. When is the right time or river conditions to switch from Skagit to Scandi and vice versa? So I'm going to read the second half of his answer.
Cool.
When I'm floating any of our OP rivers or Seattle's great S rivers, Skagit, Skycomish,
Love it.
so on and so forth, I also have both heads with me. I love my Skagit heads for really doing some heavy lifting work, big flies, big tips, high banks, and more. They allow me to fish a lot of water that is not a classic bar that oftentimes gets overlooked. Fishing those overlooked spots is where this or how this head was born. Zero back cast, epic structure, a good pace, enter the Skagit head. When the anchor drops, we step out of the boat and fish a classic bar run. With plenty of back cast room, I grab the Scandi head or Scandi body head. I really favor this head for efficiency. These are longer heads, so I can reduce the time stripping in running line and can do touch and go casting. Faster casting and less stripping means I can cover more water faster and hit more spots. These fish great with unweighted flies or light flies, versaleators 10 or 15 foot, intermediate type 8. The other situation I gravitate towards the Scandi head is when the water's low and clear. The crash of a Skagit head and a big fly can frighten me sometimes, and I know the fish are feeling the same way. So when presentation matters, it's time for the Scandi. The choice is personal, but they're both tools that perform different jobs very well. Well said.
Very, very well said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we get this question a lot about Skagit and Scandi and when, and I think he really gets to it there.
Yep. Yeah, we've covered this a lot. But they're both tools for different jobs.
Yep.
It just depends on how heavy and what type of sink tip and how big your fly is.
Absolutely. And Russ, he does have, he goes into a little more detail about some really great stuff about Skagit and Scandi and how they came to be and all that. So on our blog, we'll have kind of the full rundown from Russ, which was really great.
Yep.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Okay, moving on. A good friend of AFS, Mike 44B here, wrote us a great question. Still a good idea to swing in the faster water in winter like we do in summer, or should I just focus on the slow, deep water with good seams and slots? It's a great question. You know, as the seasons change, even in our summer run, October, November, when we get into winter conditions, when our summer run, you know, we kind of shift to a more winter style fishing. I always hear Steve Eady in the back of my mind, you know, going down the river with him, you know, like fish are where you find them. The fish are going to be where you find them. So you can't really pass anything up that looks juicy or that you feel there might be a fish in there. You always want to throw to it because you never know. But typically we are looking for fish, you know, in those slower buckets. You're, you know, maybe thinking of a slower walking speed type of water, a little bit. You don't necessarily want to be dragging the bottom, you know, but you know, in that mid column to low water column, that's where I think we typically are looking for winter fish. or on the inside edges if the water is fast on the inside edges like we've been talking about lately. But man, there's nothing I like seeing more than a really slow walking speed water, 5 to 7 feet deep going into a tail out. That just makes me excited this time of year.
I think it really comes down to water conditions. If it's low and clear in the winter, those fish are going to be hiding, and they're going to be in that choppy water hiding along that ledge. If the water's a little higher and off color, then you can find them in that softer water. But I think it comes down to water conditions, which is water temp, height, and color.
Sure.
So whether it's a summer or winter fish, I think water conditions really are where it's at.
Dictate a lot of what's happening, yeah,
that's
for sure.
a defining factor. Yeah.
All right, you're up.
PNW landing nets.
Yeah, this
Our
was a
friend
good
Ryan
one.
Biddle,
Yeah.
PNW landing nets. If I'm walking upriver, is river right really river left? And if there is a back eddy, would that be considered river right? I'm so confused. I am too.
I'm confused. He's confused. It's a lot of pervasive confusion around this topic.
Not really sure how we clear this one up.
I remember that day that we were rolling along there, in your raft and saw Ryan trying to figure it out. And I mean, he must have been, how long was he just walking around, looking around? I mean,
he walked in a lot of circles that day.
It was a little hard to watch, but it made me, it kind of made me more confused too. So I don't think we've really gotten anywhere with this.
No. And if you're running a jet boat upriver, same question.
Really? Yeah.
Which he does run a jet boat a lot.
Because then you're going upriver, and then
right, is river right on your left?
I think we're just going to come back to this.
We'll come back
Let's
to
come
that.
back to this.
We got to ask around a little bit.
Yeah, we're going to ask around, yeah.
You're up.
We've got a great question from Al Volt here, a real nice local gal who asks, who asked for this? Who?
I don't know who asked for this.
I don't know if anybody asked for this.
I don't know, but you're getting it right now. I don't know who asked for it, and we apologize.
But we want to thank you, whoever you are, for asking for it.
Because they didn't, but
yeah,
assume that they did. But they did ask once we asked them to ask.
When we asked them to ask,
we got a lot of great questions.
Did ask.
We asked them to ask, and this is what we got. And this is what you get. We've got 2 winners. Now
Oh, come on. We are definitely going to send this guy something.
Oh, yeah. We got 3 winners.
Yeah, we got all kinds of winners here.
Maybe we have 4. But we have 2 that are getting, one's going to get a 525 iFlight from Rio. Awesome line. It's a integrated Skagit head that really cuts deep in a run. It's a 525, and if you need a different size, we can get that. And then this awesome Heritage hoodie from Sage. We'll send that out to one of the other winners here.
Thank you, Sage and Rio. Appreciate it.
So thanks, Russell Miller, for answering these questions for us, sending this stuff out, and we'll contact you with your prizes, get those sent out to you, and don't forget, you asked for it, even though you didn't.
Thanks, everybody.
See you next time.